Does he have enough? Is it long enough?
Welcome, Husker Nation, to Post Game Spread, presented by Hurrdat Sports.
His second interception on the season. Multiple flags come down on the return.
Breaking down the highs and lows of what we just witnessed from our beloved Cornhuskers.
Touchdown, Nebraska.
It's time to let it all out. Join the conversation on YouTube or Twitter at Hurrdat Sports, or live in person at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
I'm done. Let's go.
It's time for Post Game Spread.
Spread up.
Welcome into the post-game spread. I'm Robbie Lula, Jared Hall here with me, and we are coming to you live from the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill following a Nebraska W.
Yes.
Not just a W, okay?
Go on.
31-14.
Oh.
Okay. That's a 3-score W.
3-score dub, 3 in a row.
So that's what I was going to say.
3 in a row, baby.
For the first time since 2016, Nebraska's on an honest-to-God winning streak.
You know, like, that's always going to be, you heard that before this game. 3-game winning streak. It's possible. You can do it. All those jokes, we've heard it. It happened.
It's a real thing, and
it's
it happened.
It's a real thing. It's reality.
And Nebraska has done it. They are 5-3 on the season now. You know, I still think back, well, it'd be nice to have that Minnesota game back, be bowl eligible after this game. It's okay.
It happened. There's nothing you can do about it.
It happened for a reason. We're going to be better for it.
That's the thing, right? People look at the Minnesota game, view it as Nebraska got better as a result of that game.
They got better as a result of that game. Nebraska now has won 5 of their last 6 games, BT Dubs.
Oh.
5 of their last 6 games, including 3-game winning streak.
God, when you put it that way.
I mean, when you say they won 5 of their last 6 games, you feel kind of good.
Don't we? Even before this game, it's just, I'm talking with people and they're like, so how are you feeling? And I'm just like, I'm usually the cynical, negative old man who.
Yeah, I get that about you.
Yelling at clouds. That's me. I'm yelling at clouds.
Old man yells at clouds, shakes fists.
That's me.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, there's something different. And is it as simple as a coaching change that is making me feel this way? Where, like, if this happened under the previous regime, maybe you wouldn't be as, like, hopeful, but it is different. Doesn't it feel different to you?
It does feel.
Is it just me?
No, it does feel different. I came into this game and people were nervous, right? And justifiably so. Nebraska has not given us a lot of reason over the last few years to feel confident in situations like this. By the way, you can find us on YouTube, Hurrdat Sports, Twitter, or we are also on the NBNR TikTok, which I single-handedly got them to 10,000 followers. You're welcome. I'm just saying, before I did their podcast, they were not at 10,000 followers. After I did their podcast, they were at 10,000 followers. That's all I know.
Listen,
those are facts.
You're just stating facts here.
These are absolutely undisputable facts. Anyway, that's where you can find us. Join us. You can comment on our YouTube or Twitter. We will read in any good comments. If they're bad comments, I'm not going to read them. Like, I'm sorry.
Maybe some of the bad ones might be.
I mean, if they're
funny,
if they're bad, funny, But no, it is reasonable to look at the coaching change and say that's why you feel different, because Nebraska if Nebraska had lost 4 fumbles at any point over the last decade,
done,
automatic loss,
done. In
addition to losing the turnover battle, right? So they're -1 in turnovers, 4 lost fumbles, and in some pretty catastrophic situations, right off the bat. Literally on the kickoff
of the game.
Literally on the kickoff, they lose the ball on a fumble. And that by itself, Nebraska would have lost the game in that moment in years past.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes.
I'm not hearing anybody who is denying that. They would have lost the game in that moment. They would have allowed Purdue to score immediately, probably on the first play.
Mm-hmm.
And that game would have been over, right? Nebraska not only didn't lose in that moment, they didn't give up points in that moment.
Dude, Garrett, first of all, Garrett Snodgrass, all love to you.
but fall the F down. You are not Dan Conley of the Patriots running back a 71-yard return. Like, just fall the F down,
Listen,
my guy.
Instincts take over. You run with the ball.
No.
No.
That's not his instinct. He's a lineman. That's never been his instinct.
I got the ball. I got the ball, though. This is awesome. I got the ball.
He's been trained his entire football life to not run with the football.
Okay, Lakeven Smith.
Just fall down, big fellas.
You get the ball, your mind goes crazy. No. I'm just saying.
Unless you see clear skies ahead of you, like you don't see a soul ahead of you, you do not get the opportunity for a big guy touchdown.
Collapse.
Yeah, just
on the ground.
Like a house of cards. Just go to the deck, all right? Thank you to these lovely people who bought me a beer. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Appreciate you.
For starting the Go Big Red chant.
Yeah.
That's right.
We appreciate them. Appreciate all the lovely people here that watch the game with us at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. But no, years past. Like, there were multiple moments in this game in years past that would have lost the game for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had the confidence, the reason I had confidence, right? I didn't love it. Like, I'm not pretending like I enjoyed a lot of this experience, okay? There were moments that were fun, but as you're watching this, I didn't feel that existential dread of the next mistake will break us.
Right.
Right? Whereas in years past, the next mistake was always the thing that was going to break the camel's back, whatever it was. And the reason I felt that way was because we had seen against Illinois and against Northwestern, and even to a certain degree against Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech, where they weren't playing great football for large stretches of those games, but they grounded out. They found ways to win rather than finding ways to lose. That's the biggest difference, and that's all I'm attributing that 100% to coaching, is now they find ways to win instead of finding ways to lose.
When I consider this coaching staff, I'm continually amazed at how much they're able to like squeeze out of these guys.
Yes.
I just feel like they're getting the absolute most that they possibly can get. I mean, look, if we're being honest with each other, this Nebraska team in 2023,
especially on offense,
especially on offense,
because I think there's genuinely a lot of talent on defense. I think this is, we were talking about this during the game, right? I genuinely think this is a good defense. I think there's good talent there. I think there's NFL guys there. Are some of them a little bit less seasoned than you would like? Sure. But I like the guys on the defensive line. I like the linebackers. I like the secondary. I like the guys at every level. And I think they're incredibly well coached by Tony White. Okay. But especially on offense, this team is bleak. It was bleak to start the season and not bleak road. It was bleak to start the season, and it has only gotten dramatically worse.
And I did put this in my notes while I was watching the game. It's like the last 10 minutes of this game is really going to overshadow kind of what happened.
How we felt for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, the first 45 minutes of the game, you're like, okay, you can loosen up.
Yeah.
And again, you kind of talked about that. Like, it's not existential dread. I mean, this team was up 24-0. But I feared that everything else that happened the last 10 minutes of the game or so, that's all anyone is ever going to focus on. They're going to not remember the 3 third down conversions that they had in order to score one of their touchdowns.
I think the first touchdown, I think on that drive, it took 3, and all of them were 3rd and 5 or longer. I think one of them was a 3rd and 9, and one of them was somewhere in between there. Anyway, continue.
No, I was going to say, you had joked about it in the game. Oh, 3rd and 9.
That's our sweet spot.
And hey, next thing you know, big play to Jaden Doss. He had that drop earlier.
But again,
you could say it was a good play by the defender. Maybe got his hand in there,
but it hit both his hands.
Yeah.
I need him to bring that in. It was a really good ball.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we're going to criticize Heinrich Harburg and some of the other people on offense, that was a really good ball.
Yeah.
And it was a really good job by Jaden Doss to come back later and make up for it. Like, he didn't let one play beat him twice.
And that's the thing. You kept saying it. Maybe if that happened in the past under previous staffs, maybe he doesn't even see the field after that. Like, one mistake, and it's like...
Or he's so mentally checked out that they can't put him back out there.
That's right. And so, again, this offense, you had little sparks there. Heinrich Harburg puts a nice ball on Doss, drops it. But all those 3rd down conversions and,
that big play to Lloyd,
huge. Just
right after the Tommy Hill interception, right? Tommy Hill, great game. 2 picks today.
That dude, he had the ball in his hands today. more than he's ever had it in his hands, and he embraced it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look good.
He did. and it's so we finally started turning the corner. And I talked about this earlier in the year where Nebraska's defense went from like very, very solid to now they're creating turnovers. Now they're being disruptive. Now they're creating the splash plays where they're genuinely a good defense. They're not just really solid. They're creating opportunities. And that kind of flows over into the special teams where they got that block kick for a touchdown as well. Incredible play. Probably my favorite. Like that was where I was happiest in the game was after that happened. Because it puts them up 21-0. Standing up in our little corner booth.
Are we Iowa now? Oh God, we're Iowa. Special teams score.
Special teams.
Holy crap!
I mean, listen. If Nebraska has to turn into Iowa to turn into what they want to be, like that's a terrific next step on the road.
Yes.
Right. Like people have to realize, and I think most people do at this point. I hope most people do at this point.
God, I hope so.
That becoming Iowa, even some of the lower points of Iowa over the last 10, 15 years, that becoming Iowa is huge progress for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right. Is that where you want to stop? Absolutely not.
No.
Right. But you have to make some stops along the way. This isn't a nonstop flight. Like you're going to have some layovers. We need to have a layover in Iowa City before we can go have a layover in Ann Arbor. You know what I mean? Like that's the steps along the road.
Yeah. And if you think back to that block kick, what preceded that? It was a Heinrich Harburg fumble.
Mm-hmm.
You put the defense
in a compromised position.
Yet another.
Again.
And
they only broke one time.
And look, here's the thing.
They broke one time, despite being put in crappy positions all day.
Whenever this happens to the defense, it happens a lot. And it would be so easy for us as fans to say, this is the moment where they break. This is the moment right here where everything, the past 7 games, maybe it was all a fluke or whatever. No, listen, we are 8 games in. This is not a fluke.
I was honestly never surprised when they held. It's to the point I was surprised when they finally broke. On the 3rd and 15 when they gave up the touchdown, they got them to 3rd and 15, and I was like, clutching my pearls. I was like, I can't believe they gave up a touchdown here. It's like Purdue had the ball, and they got the ball at the 25-yard line. They should score there. But Nebraska's defense had been put in that position over and over and over again, and they're just like, nope, we are not giving up points when we're put in these positions. And I believe them that when that happens now, to the point where I was surprised when they gave up points.
Yeah, and if you look back, if you like rewatch this game, you're going to see Purdue had plays that they could have made.
Sure. That's drops. I think they had 5 drops in the game.
Yeah, but the network broadcast made it a point to show a montage
of the drops.
And I think it was on that first drive. I think Hurrdat got beat, and it probably should have been a touchdown. But listen, Purdue did things. They made mistakes that normally teams, when they play Nebraska, they just don't make those mistakes. And it's very nice. It's very nice to see other teams make mistakes that normally Nebraska would. And it's like, hey, it does happen to other teams.
Well, and I think part of this, right? I think part of it is because the defense is constantly putting pressure on Purdue's offense. They're putting them in a position where they know if they don't execute, then they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And when you're in that position, when they turn up the pressure on you, when they're tightening the screws on your offense, that's when you start making mistakes like that. That's when you start making unforced errors. Nebraska is used to that happening to them a lot. It's been a while since we've seen Nebraska's defense do this to other people, where they're the ones that, okay, maybe they didn't force those drops, but when you're putting them in positions where they have to execute, you're more likely to force them into unforced errors, if that makes sense.
Oh, I mean, I think you would say Nebraska teams in the past, and of course now, where the offense has such a small margin for error, given all the injuries and just kind of overall lack of talent on that side of the ball.
And just poor execution, right? Even with the guys that are out there, I don't care who you are, let's still not fumble the ball all the time.
It's elementary.
Yeah, that's a thing that, listen, I'm not asking you to make plays necessarily. I am asking you to hold on to the GD football, okay? That's not a big ask.
Let's talk about this, okay?
I can live with 1 or 2 a game, honestly. I can live with 1 or 2 a game.
Yeah.
It's the 4 a game that gives me a little heart palpitation. happy feet late.
Yes, he did.
Like he was running away from ghosts late.
Just the eye test. It didn't really feel like the defensive line was getting too much pressure, but I felt like as the game wore on.
Yeah, they wore him down, I thought.
Yeah, they wore him down. The secondary forced a lot of pressure themselves by just playing sound football, and that made Hudson Card feel like, I got to get out of here.
It felt like a lot of coverage pressure.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
felt like he was trying to extend plays to allow the receivers to get open in non-traditional ways because the secondary was locking them down pretty good.
Yeah, and I feel like a guy like Omar Brown deserves a shout out before his injury.
Yeah, he was sticking people.
Ravi called him Omar
hit stick Brown.
Yeah, dude was putting a lick on people. And I don't mean to like switch gears on you real quick, but
fine.
We were talking about the fumbles, and we're at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Okay, we are sitting in the dartboard area here. Listen,
in the Cove, the Enclave,
whatever
the
you want to call
dartboard
it.
Enclave.
Yes, hopefully it doesn't come flying our way. But I think back to that Heinrich Harburg hit, and I'm like, Hurrdat Sports Bar put me in concussion protocol after watching that, dude. But here's the thing.
And then Marcus Satterfield's like, hey, let's run an option with him.
And then of course that leads to
the fumble.
Purdue player putting his helmet on the ball, and it's a fumble. I just, before the game, I was complaining to Satterfield, look, you know more football than I do, okay?
Yeah. But
here's what I know. It's cold, it's windy. Heinrich Harburg is probably not the best passer. So, like, versus Northwestern, why is your first play of the game a pass? And then something like this happens where...
Or Purdue.
Listen,
against Purdue.
Well, against
Northwestern too. Okay.
Yeah, the very first play of the game last week was a pass.
Also a pass, yeah.
And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
And then I think back to today where, listen, Ravi, that hit. 3 minutes after that hit, I still got my head in my hands because that sound, that crunch sound
was a little disturbing.
It was in my head.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
And I'm like, if you're an offensive coordinator,
like maybe don't make that guy run the next play.
I don't know. I'm
turn around and hand it off. Just turn around and hand it off.
And you're at the point in the game where it's like, why not give?
Yeah, if you have to punt there, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
You're up 24-6 still at that point. Like if you have to punt there, not a big deal.
And look, a guy like Emmett Johnson, he had a very efficient game last week against Northwestern. I believe he had over 6 yards a carry.
And he was at 5.8 today.
And listen, later in the game, he got a carry, and one of his touchdowns was like
it was 28 yards. It still wasn't that long. Like, that's a nice run, but it's not like, listen, this isn't the Josh Fleeks from Michigan,
right,
where he had like 2 carries for 75 yards and one of them was 74.
Right.
Like, this was a pretty solid, like, he was running the ball well.
His efficiency's not skewed.
No, he had 13 carries for 76 yards. His long was 28. I think that's a reasonable representation of what he did.
Yeah. And earlier in the game, I felt like later in the game, it wasn't as much of a factor, but even a guy like Fleeks.
Yeah, Fleeks.
Every time he touched the ball, it's like,
3 carries, 19 yards, 2 catches, 24 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he was moving the ball when he got it.
Hello. And, when I'm watching the game, I recall the Michigan run. And, of course, with me being my cynical self, I'm like, well, look, that's just one play. That's an anomaly. That's not going to happen every time. Of course, it's not going to happen every time. But why isn't he getting the ball more?
Yeah.
With a guy like Anthony Grant now being able to hold on to the ball, with Emmett Johnson being a freshman, Fleeks, as far as I don't remember him ever dropping a ball or fumbling. Why isn't he getting more touches?
Knock on wood.
Knock on freaking wood, of course.
We don't need to make anything
Is
else
there any
happen.
wood? I don't think there's any wood around.
There's some right there. Just get up real quick. There's one right next to you. Knock it. There you go.
But I'm just like, Fleeks, why isn't he touching the ball more? I feel like,
and he's experienced. I mean, he's an older guy. He's been in college football for a long time. Like at this point, I kind of want Emmett Johnson and Josh Fleeks and Anthony Grant can be an afterthought. Which, listen, he only had 6 carries today, so he kind of was an afterthought. But I would rather have Fleeks have more carries than Anthony Grant at this
I think
point.
that's safe to say. And that's safe to say, and it's also sad.
It bums me out because I think Anthony Grant's super talented. I am so far past the point of being able to trust him. I'm sure we've all been in these like toxic relationships where like there's a breaking point where you're like,
Keep going with relationships. I love the Ravi relationship talk, baby. I love it.
Well, listen, there's like there's a point where enough has happened where you just cannot trust each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just one side or that, like, you're both terrible to each other. Okay. You're both in a situation where you're like emotionally manipulative and you're trying to like get a rise out of each other and stuff. It's like there comes a point where you're just like, hey, we need to go our separate ways. There is no opportunity, no matter what happens, for us to trust each other at this point. That's where we're at with Anthony Grant.
Having you in my life is a detriment.
Yes, it is a detriment.
Oh, God, I shouldn't say that's so harsh, though.
It's a detriment to my mental health every time Anthony Grant touches the football. Like, that's what it is at this point. And like,
Robbie needs to see a therapist for Anthony Grant syndrome.
Anthony Grant and me need to go to like couples therapy and be like, hey, bud, like, why do you continually betray my trust by dropping the football every game?
I keep giving you chances.
Yeah.
You don't. Why don't you have respect for me?
Yeah. Why don't you,
Anthony?
Why don't you respect the things that I ask? Like, I don't ask a lot. I'm not asking you to house call it from 70 yards, right? I'm not asking a lot. And we're getting pretty close to that same point with Heinrich Harburg, if we're being honest here, because that was the major thing. And I get we saw Jeff Sims for 14 seconds, and he immediately gave up a touchdown to the other team.
One of the notes I have is
which is not a great look.
Why isn't Sims in? Why isn't Sims in? Well, he got in. Sims got in. And the first play, or no, I shouldn't say it was 4th and 1. And of course, what are they going on 4th and 1?
Shotgun.
What do they go?
Which I hate. Listen, I've very much turned in.
Why?
I've very much turned into the old man who's like, run the damn ball and never be in shotgun in goal line or 4th and 1.
Anytime it works, we forget about it, right? It goes against our old man narrative.
Yeah, I'm not gonna work against my own old man narrative.
Hell no.
No.
I am deeply entrenched in this position here.
This is not to say that it never works.
Right.
But the risk reward is not worth it to me. It's the same thing with like fade passes on the goal line to the corner of the end zone. I hate them. I think they're the stupidest thing in the world.
They're disgusting.
And they don't work enough for me to be like, yeah, this is a good plan.
Why are people still doing that?
Yeah, like that worked when you had Randy Moss in 1998.
There's one Randy Moss ever.
Randy Moss ain't walking through that door.
No, he ain't.
All right. Okay. Maybe Malachi Coleman can like get some fade passes, but like I'm not interested in fade passes. All right. If you're on the goal line, you're in 4th and 1, get under center and push that thing into the end zone.
They go in shotgun on 4th and 1 with Jeff Sims.
Here's the worst part.
Please.
Here's the worst part.
Go.
They were ready to punt.
They were ready to punt.
They were on 4th and 1. They take the delay of game because they couldn't get them to jump off sides.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're ready to punt. They bring the punt team out. And then the punt team actually does draw them off sides. So it's 4th and 1 again.
I love it.
And they're like, you know what?
Nebraska football.
F it, we're going for it. In the exact same situation that we decided not to go for it mere seconds ago.
I know.
Right? Like literally nothing had changed. Because I don't know if you know this, but a delay game penalty and an offside penalty are worth the exact same number of yards.
How many?
5. So 4th and 1 turns into 4th and 6, turns into the exact same 4th and 1, which you declined to go for seconds ago.
I love it.
What changed in that amount of time?
I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing changed.
And look,
And listen, if you want to go for it on 4th and 1, cool. Line up under the center. Get your giant jumbo package. You know, they brought in one of the linemen. I didn't even see who it was. God, I think it was 75. I can't remember who. I think it was 75.
Crap. Connect?
Yeah. The transfer.
Yeah.
They brought him in. They didn't even really run behind him, by the way. So I don't know why they brought him in.
I don't know either.
But listen, bring in like a jumbo package behind Jeff Sims and just push him. Just give him a little push.
It's a freak. We can't cuss on here. It's a freaking yard.
I mean, I think we can because we're not on the air, but you do whatever you want.
Freaking yard. Look.
Yeah. Sauter cuts on here all the time, so you're fine.
Sauter. Listen, there's only one Sauter. Shout out to Mike Sauter, for God's sake. That dude is a freaking animal. He gets around. But what's the result of that play? What happens? What happens?
That's a fumble that is returned for a touchdown. Purdue was just like, hey, this is mine now. We're going to go score.
I'm just in a state of...
That's the one that got returned for a touchdown, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just in a
state...
There
were so many fumbles that I'm getting them a little confused.
There was so many.
I'm not even being facetious here. Like, I'm literally getting all the fumbles confused.
So one of the graphics, of course, was 19 fumbles. This is before the game. 19 fumbles leads the country, right? Number 1 in the country. I'm pretty sure.
I think that lead is safe. I think that lead's safe at 23 now.
If they don't fumble for the rest of the year,
Still safe.
They'll be at least top 3. Probably,
Still safe.
you know?
Yeah.
But I'm just in a state of disbelief. In that scenario, I know maybe I'm just caveman, stupid, simple man, right?
I said this before. I said this while we were watching the game together. I goes, just because you're stupid doesn't mean you're wrong. That's a real thing, right? Like,
I think that applies to me.
Well, stupid people get it right sometimes.
Yeah, I'm really dumb. I'm really dumb.
I don't think you're really
like,
dumb.
What am I doing here?
But like, that's kind of my entire like philosophy when criticizing coaches. Like, listen, I understand they know more about football than me.
Yeah.
I also understand because I have been a coach. I coached college basketball for 9 years. I coached high school basketball for a year before that. But I hate children, so I got out of high schools. That's true.
And I work at a high school, and I do not blame the way you feel sometimes about kids.
Understand where I'm coming from.
I get it.
Your level of tolerance and patience for them is much higher than mine.
Yeah.
But my point is, I know for a fact, because I watched it happen to me and the other coaches on staff, that you can get blind spots to things because you're too close to the situation.
Right.
You cannot see the forest for the trees. Like, that is a real thing that happens to coaches all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I criticize, it's not to say that I know better. It's that I see from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And sometimes that perspective is more accurate than the one when they are in the weeds.
And, you know, they see the practices, right?
Sure.
Maybe they're 4th and 1 in practices. It works every time. And we don't know
But
that.
practices can be deceiving.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of
that's the point
here,
right?
Is you're not in the weeds. You don't see the practices
No.
every day. However, Ravi, I believe you have common sense. And I think numbers would ultimately back you in our opinion on this.
Yeah.
So
sometimes a 30,000-foot view is what is necessary. And it's really hard for coaches to get that in season when they are in the muck, right?
Yeah.
When they're in the weeds, they're down in the mud trying to figure things out. And I get that. I'm not criticizing them for that. What I am saying is, like, sometimes I see things that they don't. And not just me, you, other fans, whoever, like analysts, like, that's a real thing that happens.
Yeah.
This all being said, right? Nebraska won this game by 3 scores.
They won by 3 scores, 17 points.
They had 4 lost fumbles.
It's crazy.
Like that, I just say this. Think about it. They had 4 lost fumbles
in the past. I know we talk about the past a lot.
That's an automatic loss.
That's why.
That's an automatic multi-score loss.
Because I know. Listen, we are turning this into a positive direction now.
I am.
Because we have been talking about the fumbles.
We are turning slowly, like Heinrich Harburg on an off ramp as he's trying.
No, you. That was gold, baby. That was gold.
Just
kidding. Just
yeah. He's like, there's a little bit of ice, like black ice on the exit ramp, but he's really trying to keep that thing on the road. That's how he's changing direction, and that's how we're changing direction from negative to positive here.
Listen, I just want to say, Tristan Alvano, 55-yard field goal. You know, that 47-yarder last week.
Nothing.
You know, I'm like, this is the moment where he gets his confidence back.
Turns the corner.
Like before, maybe he had some brain worms.
Listen,
some issues.
He's a freshman,
true freshman.
He's 18 years old. 18-year-olds don't know anything.
I'm talking about an 18-year-old true freshman kicker. Who am I?
Yeah.
But he nails that 55-yarder, man.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. Like with most kicks, I don't know if you've noticed, but dude gets freaking hyped.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Rightfully so.
Listen, I love it.
Boom.
Listen, there's this. I put this on some tweets sometimes when I tweet stuff that I like. It's from Welcome to Wrexham. It's from the theme song of Welcome to Wrexham. The last line before they cut to the show is, "Don't forget to sing when you win." When you get wins, it was like when John Cook, it's a regular season win, and he's in the crowd and he's wearing a cowboy hat. And like last week, Matt Rule out there, crowd like body surfing on his team. Like, I love that stuff, man. Like, don't forget to sing when you win. Like, I'm about that.
Yeah.
It was Northwestern. It was Purdue.
Listen, Northwestern went 1-11 last year. Guess who the 1 was? Nebraska. Okay.
Hello.
Don't forget to sing when you win.
Hey, Maryland. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, how you feel about Northwestern right now? Hey, Minnesota, how you feeling about Northwestern right now?
Minnesota gave up a 31-10 lead in the 4th quarter.
Virginia Tech, how you feeling about Purdue right now?
They went into
Illinois. How you feeling about Purdue right now?
They went into Blacksburg Lane Stadium. And look, it's probably not the same atmosphere as it used to be under Beamer.
No, but come on. That's a Power 5 road game.
Yes.
Like, that's not easy. So, like, I am so impressed, despite how horrifying it looked on offense at times. And horrifying is the right word to describe it.
It was, listen, it's spooky season. It's October 28th.
It's
This
like
game was scary.
I wanted to avert my eyes the way I do every time that Exorcist commercial comes on when I'm watching a football game. I turn that, get out of here. No,
That's
no,
why I
thank you.
wore it.
I hate you. Like I want to turn my eyes. I was like, I'm not about that life. I'm not. No, I need to stay clean. No, I need to stay clean.
The power of
Anna, what's up?
wins compels you.
We went to college together.
Oh, did you went to college? What? No, good for you. You're in debt now. No, actually, you're not.
Not
You're
that much. No. Just
No, but you're talking about sing, baby, sing.
yeah. Don't like sing when you win. Like I'm about that. This is Nebraska has not had a lot to sing about.
No.
Lately. Well, I mean, what do we start off with? First 3-game winning streak since 2016.
5-3, 1 game away from a bowl.
They have a winning record at the end of October.
They went
Since the
undefeated
first
in
time.
October. Undefeated in October, 3-0, baby.
Again, I believe for the first time they've had a winning record at the end of October since 2016.
Yeah.
That is 7 years, man.
It is 7 years.
Like sometimes I still think 2016 is like 3 years ago because all time has lost all meaning, basically. Like,
Well, look, the Mike Riley year, it was really cool.
Mhm.
And, they started off 7-0. And then, like, something happened
fell off the rails a little bit.
between 2016 and the Rule era. Something, there was this, I don't know what you want to call it. The Scott fuck era, something like that.
It was
Something
the
in
dark
there.
ages. It was the dark ages
It was the dark ages.
of Nebraska football.
And
It's literally the worst period of Nebraska football since the 60s. Like, that's not an exaggeration.
I think, shoot,
50s
even
and
the
60s.
50s.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
whenever
I mean,
Bill Jennings was coaching. It was like 58 to 62 or somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's literally the dark ages of Nebraska football is what we're just coming out of. So, like, forgive me that we rediscovered fire. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, we don't have iPhones right now, but we figured out how the wheel works again.
Look, we talk about how disgusting and ugly and scary and just our eyes were bleeding watching this game.
Yeah.
Listen, we joked about it before the game started, Ravi, and you kind of disagreed with me a little bit. I think maybe you can clarify some things, but I'm just like, these are the types of games that I love watching. First of all, like even as a neutral viewer, I love watching these kind of shit show games like this.
I don't.
Now,
As a neutral viewer, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and look, as a neutral viewer, it's kind of like Schadenfreude. I kind of find joy in like watching.
Yeah, you're a sicko. You're a sicko.
I'm
It's fine.
I'm
It's
the
fine.
CEO of the Sicko Committee, even though I did not found that Twitter profile or whatever. But these are the types of games that I want Nebraska to play in,
Yes.
especially in a year one.
So
where,
that I agree with.
yeah, you go through this shit. You look like shit.
So that when you upgrade the talent,
I'm telling you.
so that when you get experience, then not only do you have the talent and the experience and the ability, but also you've got the know-how in terms of winning these crap games. You've got the know-how. That's the thing that they never learned under Mike Riley and that they never learned under Scott Frost. And a lot of times they didn't learn under Pelini either, is how to win these disgusting games. Because listen, no matter who you are, no matter how talented you are, at some point, you're going to find yourself in a nasty fight.
Thank you.
At some point. This is why USC is no danger winning a national title anytime soon. Because they're going to have
no grit.
They're going to have the best dudes, right? On offense, at least.
Soft.
They're going to have the best dudes. They're going to have the most skill position talent. They're going to have a Heisman winner at quarterback every freaking year. Lincoln Riley's going to be the best offensive mind every freaking year, and they're going to have 5 stars at wide receiver, and it doesn't matter. They're going to lose 2 to 3 games every year because Utah's going to walk in there, or somebody like Utah, and punch them in the face, and they don't know what to do. Nebraska's been punched in the face this whole damn year, and they're like, guess what? We're still standing.
That chin.
We're still okay.
Their chin is still... What do they, when a boxer they can just take a punch?
They got that granite chin.
You know what I'm saying?
They got that like iron chin right there. They don't have a glass jaw, right? Like,
yeah.
All of Scott Frost's teams had glass jaws, right? Matt Rule's not about that life. It's not pretty yet. They're not throwing a lot of counter punches yet. They're not figuring out a lot of offensive strategies yet.
Oh my God.
But if they don't have a granite chin, I don't know who does.
Ravi, like, I'm pumped up, dude.
I was saying, it seems like you're getting a little jazzed up.
Listen,
it seems like you're feeling good a little bit.
Let me get adjusted here.
Okay.
I just gotta.
Yeah.
look, when Matt Rule gets this thing, when he gets this thing rolling, and I say that like kind of assuming he's going to, but
I've been drinking the Roulade since day one. I'm in.
I know. I'm trying to be as neutral and not Kool-Aid-y as possible. But look, he's going to get better players in here.
Absolutely.
Listen,
and he's going to develop the players he has. That's the thing I'm maybe most excited about.
True freshmen are contributing.
Dude, you got Jalen Lloyd out here just like, don't worry, I'm a house call this thing. We good. Jaden Doss drops what could have been a touchdown, comes back, he's like, don't worry, I got you on third down.
Redeems himself.
You got Thomas Fidone playing the first college football of his life.
Yeah.
He's like, no, don't worry, touchdown, first possession, we good.
How dare you, Ravi? How dare you forget Princewell making plays out there? Cam Lenhart, come on.
I don't even have to talk about Princewell and Cam Lenhart because they're already there, man.
God.
And they're going to get better. Dude, Princewell and Cam Lenhart are like my dudes. Those are my guys, and they're going to keep getting better. And don't forget, you got Riley Van Poppel out there. You got Maverick Noonan that's going to be back next year. You've got guys on guys on guys. And listen, you're telling me Ty Robinson and Nash Hotmarker's not going to come back and play for Tony White another year? Because I don't believe that for a second.
I'm hearing, Nash, this might be his last year. Ty Robinson.
Dude, he's coming back.
Come on, you got to come back, don't you?
Because not only is he comes back and he's a day 1 or 2 guy. I'm saying it right now.
You're talking about the nut smasher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Like, if Nash comes back, he's working himself into like a second round type guy.
Yes.
Because you see how much more mobile he is this year. Like, he used to just be a big body. Give me one more year with Corey Campbell and watch the way that dude moves.
Last week against Northwestern, okay, he had 2.5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you read that, you go, he had a good game. He's a nose tackle, for God's sake. And he had 2.5 sacks. I'm in the stands watching the game.
He's terrorizing
80% of that time he's running around. There's number 0 just streaking across the field,
terrorizing people.
This is a this dude is huge.
And he was doing it to a lesser extent today because I think the game plan was a little different to contain Hudson Card because Hudson Card was quite a bit more mobile, and we saw that a little bit. But this dude, if he comes back for another year with Corey Campbell and in Tony White's defense,
come on,
this is a second round guy.
God, and I don't want to get too ahead of our skis here. They are 5-3.
We need one more win. Like, give me that win against Michigan State. Like, let's go. We need one more win. But you know what? I think they're going to get more than one more win. I think they're beating Michigan State.
Yeah.
All right.
Go on. Come on. Put your name out there. Put it on the line.
They're beating Michigan State. They're beating Maryland.
Okay.
I think they're losing to Wisconsin.
Hey.
Just being honest.
How dare you?
I think they're losing to Wisconsin.
Hey.
And then they're beating Iowa. You know how many wins that is? Before the year, I said 7-5.
Yeah.
I'm calling for 8 wins. I'm calling for 8 wins. I think they lose one more on the way out, either Maryland or Wisconsin, but I think it's Wisconsin. They're going 8-4.
If you could have your druthers.
Yeah.
Now,
I would rather beat Wisconsin.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Would you rather beat Wisconsin or Iowa? You'd rather beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, because
same here.
Beat Iowa last year. I need to break the streak. Like, I need to break that Wisconsin streak. Like, let's snap that thing. Let's get rid of it.
Just like the volleyball team did last weekend.
Toss it out the window. Exercise the demons like your shirt. Like, let's get rid of this. Like, let's get rid of this Wisconsin streak. Like, I'll take Wisconsin.
I'm with you.
But I'm saying they're only losing one more on the way out. That's it. This is an 8-win team.
And look,
they scored 31 points and they didn't play offense worth a crap today.
They fumbled the ball like they didn't want it.
Not only did they lost them all too.
Like
last week they're fumbling them and they're like, oh, I guess we'll just pick them up, whatever. This week they're like, here you go.
For a touchdown.
Yeah, and nonetheless. One of them like directly leads to points, right?
All this shit they're going through.
Yeah.
All this stuff, that they're going through.
We're not on the air. You can say whatever you want.
I just feel like, you hear the iron sharpens iron mentality, that mantra being espoused over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they are, they're learning how to win, all those cliches. But guys, I feel so good. I feel so good. And
dude, here's the best part.
I'm being I'm trying to put a wall up. I'm trying to be defensive. I'm trying to defend myself for any future pain.
No, see,
I'm here for the pain later.
I'm being vulnerable. I'm tearing my walls down. I do think like me and Anthony Grant and me and Heinrich Harburg need to go to couples therapy so we can trust each other again.
Yeah.
But like, I'm tearing the walls down. I'm willing to be hurt again. Right. But here's the best part about what you just said about all their like little mantras and mottos and stuff like that. Right. the more they win games like this,
More they believe.
you know how bought in these guys are going to be? Because I think they were bought in before. Otherwise, they wouldn't have survived the start, right? They wouldn't have survived the 0-2. They wouldn't have survived the Minnesota game, right?
The Minnesota game where it looked just like before.
It looked exactly like it did in the
and
Scott
it scared
Frost era.
everybody.
And people freaked out,
Yes.
right? Guess how they feel after winning 5 of their last 6. 5 of their last 6.
Man.
And they're staring down. Listen, they put up 30. Listen, they didn't put up 31 points against Louisiana Tech. I get that Purdue is not a world beater, but it's a
Right.
Power 5 team that beat Virginia Tech on the road,
Mhm.
that beat Illinois 44-19.
A Ryan Walters defense.
Yes.
You know, we can say that.
Yeah.
It's a Ryan Walters defense.
31 points in this game where the offense has struggled.
In the cold,
They're-
it's windy.
They're picking up momentum.
Yes.
They're not skidding to a halt and trying to scratch and crawl their way to 6 wins like I thought they might be at this point in the season. And I was going to be okay with it, right? Because just get me to that 6 win, get me to a bowl game, give me the extra month of preparation. They're getting better. This team is getting better every single week. And I'm telling you, 8 wins.
They were up 24-0 today. They had a mini meltdown.
And they came back from it.
It's
There's a world not that long ago when it's sitting at 24-12, and I was like, oh, God, they might lose this game. There's 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of joked with our server a little bit because he made a joke.
Yeah, he's like a KU fan. He's like, rock chalk.
Yeah, whatever. Because he's had a good day. Good for you, bud.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations. Cool.
You
Whatever.
got the dub.
Like, that's nice.
I mean, I wanted that dub too. I wanted Oklahoma to lose.
Yeah, yeah, we were all happy. Like, but we're sitting there. It's 24-12. There's 6 minutes left. I'm seeing on Twitter, or 24-14, whatever it was. There's 6 minutes left. We're looking at it. There's people on Twitter being like, oh, this thing's far from over. This thing's far from over. And you know what Nebraska did? They said, close that door. We are done here. We are done here.
You thought you could put a scare into us?
And that's what I love is even in the game, right? Even in the moment when things start to go bad, they're like, no, we're okay. We have prepared ourselves for this.
We're good.
Our coaching staff has prepared us for this. This is an 8-win team. Mark it down.
Gosh, Rob.
Write it down. 8-win team.
And I'm a guy who was 5-7.
I said 7-5 coming into the year.
Yeah.
And I thought I was maybe a little optimistic. I was between 6-6 and 7-5. I thought 2 of those wins were Minnesota and Colorado.
Yeah.
For me, I thought 2 of the 7 were Minnesota and Colorado. When they lost those 2, I was like, dear God, if they get to 6, that's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, hey, we're getting freaking 8.
If they go 8-5,
8-4.
Riot. Oh,
8-4.
yeah, we're 8-4. Sorry.
I'm pretending like the Big Ten championship game doesn't exist because it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't.
Well, okay, 8-4. Besides riots, which would obviously happen,
Mhm.
including probably myself, I'm going to do illegal things, get arrested. You're gonna have to bail me out.
Jared,
you have plenty of money that you can bail me out with.
Jared streaking through the quad.
Just ugly pale white body, with just slight hints of redness.
Luminescent in that November night sky, though.
Just bad. Okay, 8-5, 8-4 happens.
Yep.
I'm streaking through the quad, whatever. National Coach of the Year.
If.
Listen, we're out ahead of our skis here. Oh my God, I can't even believe I even asked that.
I mean,
can I take it back? Can I even take it back?
I mean, Big Ten Coach of the Year, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, even at 6, I think he has a rightful claim.
So I would say
Don't say
no.
hardball.
No, I'm going to say Braun. If Braun gets Northwestern to a bowl game,
Okay, you got me.
because they're 4-4 right now with the upset of Maryland today. If they make it to a bowl game, you're going to have a hard time convincing me or anybody else that Braun doesn't deserve to win that, because they won 1 game last year. He got put in a terrible position.
Bad.
And he only is 2 wins away from a bowl game.
Well,
that would be miraculous. And their first bowl game in 3 years, by the way, because they weren't just trash last year. They've been trash for a minute. Like since 2020.
Even worse than Nebraska.
Way worse than Nebraska. Right? We're talking 1 or 2 wins a year.
That's a good point about Braun. Like if
Braun's the dark horse there. If they make a bowl game, I think he not only wins it, but deserves to win it.
And then he keeps his job.
Yeah, I mean, he's the head coach.
He would
now.
have to.
I mean, yeah. If he gets him to a bowl game, like, yeah, like pay the man.
Yeah.
If he doesn't keep the job at Northwestern, he's getting one somewhere else.
Okay, so someone on TikTok's asking,
Yeah, let's do it.
how long until Tony White becomes a head coach?
I'm hoping till after next year. I'm hoping he's got one more year.
And this would be a job, like some people might be like, why would you leave a job for, San Diego State's a name that has circulated the rounds.
Yeah, 'cause he's got some
bit.
history there, and
And it's like, I mean,
it's a head
you have
coaching
to
job.
take that. It's a head coaching job. No matter where you start, it's where you start.
I mean, Matt Rule's first head coaching job was at Temple.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, unless you're working for one of these national champion type people, your first head coaching job is a Group of 5 school. That's how it works. And even then, sometimes your first head coaching job is a Group of 5 school.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
He's not going to take over for Michigan after Harbaugh leaves for the NFL,
or after he gets fired for cheating too much.
Well,
or he's not taking the Michigan State job, right?
Yeah.
Like Michigan State's open, right? He's not getting that job. He's not getting the Northwestern job if David actually might get the Northwestern job. That's kind of a MAC school.
I love it.
Listen, we beat him. I can talk.
Talk away, baby. Talk your trash.
Talking
Talk
my
your
ish.
shit. Well, hey, I mean, so next up, they got Michigan State. I mean, you see that score, losing 27-12.
That's a W. Like, that's a W. Michigan State's bad.
You've already said 8-5, so like I know how
I
you're.
said 8-4. You stop throwing that Big Ten title game in there.
Sorry,
I'm pretending like it doesn't happen. I'm gonna pretend like one of those teams wins out so that Nebraska doesn't have to play Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State. I don't want to do that.
Whichever team it is, it doesn't even matter.
No, I don't care which of those three. I don't want to do it. I have zero interest in it.
I don't know, man.
Zero interest.
If Michigan isn't able to,
Actually, they already played them. Probably wouldn't be a good result.
Yeah, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again.
We talk about
unless Jim Harbaugh gets fired mid-year, which I doubt.
You wouldn't think so.
But listen, if this Connor Stallion thing gets like real squirrely, I don't know, because I didn't think it was that big of a deal a week ago, and now oh, there's a lot happening here.
On this, okay, I don't know how long you want to be on here.
I don't care.
So the Connor Stallions thing. I'm the guy.
Wild.
I'm a Mark McGuire fan. We've talked about this. We love steroids.
Oh, I'm a huge steroid guy.
And
I'm like I have openly advocated for a steroid Olympics. Like I want Usain Bolt to run an 8,500 meters. Like let's see this. I want to see how far the human body can be pushed.
I want to see what a human blur looks like.
Non-contact sports only. I don't want anybody to die.
Yeah. Well, and I'm on the side of the fence where.
But I do want to see like a 600-foot home run.
Oh God, yeah.
I miss the 600-foot home runs, if I'm being totally honest.
Like not even in the bay. Like what's past the bay?
No, just hit it in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
just hit it hit a cruise ship. All right, like let's see what happens.
So like thinking of this Connor Stallions thing, I'm the guy who usually falls on the fence of cheat however you got.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Like you got to win. This is a business. Yeah. Like you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But my thing isn't. I'm not mad. Whatever. I'm thinking about the rest of the Big Ten, and how other coaches feel about this, and I'm very curious to see how Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, handles this.
Yeah, because the other coaches aren't going to be happy.
Yeah, there's 13 other coaches out there going, "Oh,
yeah, they're not.
How are you going to treat this?
They're not going to be happy about how this went down." And here's my big thing: cheat better. You know how better. You know how mad I get when people get caught with steroids?
Yeah.
Listen,
you left the needle in the stall. What are you doing?
I am not a doctor. It is not hard to beat a steroid test. All right. These things,
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
These things are not this is not rocket science here. They're not investing a lot of money in these things. Just cheat better. If you're going, don't public Venmo people money
with
a thanks for spying on this football game for me. Basically,
the emoji with the hat and the glasses.
Don't use your credit card with your name on it to buy tickets that you're not allowed to be at.
And the spyglass.
Have you never heard of a prepaid credit card? Come on, my guy.
I know, dude. And it's all the questions.
Have you never heard of StubHub? You got to go through the university. You got to go through. You got to go through the schools.
Are there people out there that are arguing that Harbaugh didn't know? Are there legit people saying this?
Only Michigan people, I think.
Only Michigan people.
I think only Michigan people.
Because this dude was not making enough money on his own to go on these.
He was a volunteer until last year.
Who's paying for all this?
I don't know.
Well, I think we could probably make a solid guess.
I mean, it's probably not directly out of Harbaugh's pocket, but it's definitely the boosters at Harbaugh's encouraging.
Oh, Harbaugh's one of those dudes where if you were to trip over him on the sideline, he would go, "Who's this guy? I don't know who
he is. This guy on my sideline." But the defensive coordinator's like, Connor, come here. What are they running?
Right.
Anyway, this is not a Michigan podcast.
You're right. You're
any
right.
more thoughts on Nebraska before we call it a day?
I'll just reiterate what we said before.
8-4? Oh, I thought that's what we were reiterating.
Even though that did rhyme. Very nice. Very nice.
I got some bars.
You got bars. I'll be behind some if they go 8-4.
Oh, yeah, we
I'm
will.
going to be freaking.
You'll be dancing on top of some.
I don't know what exactly I'm going to be doing, but it's not going to be legal.
You know,
It'll be very fun, but not very legal.
you know what we're going to do?
What are we going to do?
We're going to sing when we win.
Sing when we win.
Don't forget to sing when you win.
Because, you know, you asked for my like closing thoughts,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, absolutely right. You sing. You get your flowers.
Yeah.
This team is not in a position, this program is not in a position to be picky about the wins it gets. I want it to be ugly. 24-0, you know, you see that final, if that was the final score, you would say that's beautiful, 24-0. But alas, it was not. It ended pretty ugly, and I liked that. I liked that it didn't end 24-0. I liked that it ended the way it did.
Still a 17-point win.
Still a dub.
Gave you another opportunity to overcome things.
Right.
And listen, when the players come, and they will.
Grant Bricks is going to commit to
When they
tomorrow. Maybe? No.
when they develop these, whether it's new players or whether the players on their roster, when they start to come up, watch out, because these games matter now. They'll matter even more then when the players start to come up.
Matt Rule has me believing, sitting here talking to you after this game.
Yeah.
I believe.
Chug the Roulade.
I can only imagine
Yeah.
how the locker room feels right now.
Oh, that place.
Come on.
5 out of their last 6 wins, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. That place, I don't think he loved the crowd surfing, but man, he might do it again.
Yeah, you see him? Give me that.
Yeah, he's like, hey, put me down. Hey, no,
You guys have fumbled enough. I don't need to be the next. Okay?
We don't need Coach Rule doing a Hugh Freeze from the hospital bed.
He's on the sideline in a neck brace. He's, freaking Mark Whipple getting run over in Michigan. Anyway. But yeah, he has me believing. I can only imagine what those dudes in the locker room feel. They got to be feeling
everything
good, man.
he said to them since he got here has come true.
That's right. Even after the shitty start against Minnesota, flip, man.
And all the stuff that's happened in games, everything that's happened, it's come around, and everything he said, the proof of concept is there. If they believed before, dear God, are they believing now?
You got to find me somebody that doesn't believe in there, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
I mean,
what are you doing?
I don't think there's anybody left. I don't think there's anybody left in that room that's not believing, and there's certainly nobody left in the dartboard enclave that's not believing either.
That's right, baby.
That's the post-game spread. That's Jared Hall from No Block, No Rock. I'm Robbie Lula. You can listen to me every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, wherever else you want to find it. That's the show. GBR. Go Big Red.